Takemaki is back, and this time, the final battle has truly arrived. Over the last few days, Anime Japan 2026 brought one of the most anticipated announcements of the season for Tokyo Revengers fans. The second official trailer for Tokyo Revengers, War of the Three Titans arc was revealed live during a special panel, confirming an October 2026 premiere, new cast members, and giving fans the clearest look yet at how this final arc will be brought to the screen. And there is a lot here worth breaking down in depth. So drop a like, subscribe, and let's get into all of it. Context, where we came from. For anyone arriving to the franchise right now, or for those who want to refresh their memory before the premiere, it is worth understanding what makes Tokyo Revengers so singular among delinquent manga. The series was created by Ken Wakui and serialized in Kodansha's weekly shonen magazine from March 2017 to November 2022, collected into 31 tankobon volumes. The manga won the 44th Kodansha Manga Award and surpassed 80 million copies in circulation, a number very few manga of its era came close to matching. The anime adaptation by Liden Films premiered in April 2021 and quickly became one of the defining phenomena of that year, particularly because of how it combined time travel with street gang drama in a way that felt genuinely fresh for both genres. The story follows Takemaki Hanagaki, affectionately called Takemichi by the fanbase, a 26-year-old living a life of barely functional mediocrity, a part-time job, a thin-walled apartment, no direction. One day he sees on the news that Hinata Tachibana, the only girlfriend he ever had back in middle school, has been killed in an incident involving a delinquent gang. That same day, he is pushed onto the subway track, and instead of dying, he wakes up 12 years in the past, back during the period when he was still dating Hinata. This is his chance. Using these time leaps, Takemaki tries to reshape the future and save the people he loves, especially Hinata and his childhood friends. What separates Tokyo Revengers from other time travel stories is that Takemaki is not a strategic genius. He does not calculate loops. He makes a lot of mistakes, suffers a great deal, cries constantly, and sometimes makes things worse before he makes them better. But what he has in extraordinary supply is stubbornness, a refusal to give up that goes beyond any rational calculus. And it is that quality that makes his journey genuinely moving across every arc. Season 1 covered the founding arcs of the Tokyo Manji Gang and the conflict with Valhalla and Bloody Halloween. Season 2 brought the Christmas Showdown arc and the Black Dragon confrontation. Season 3 dove into the Tenjiku arc, where the central antagonist Izana Kurikawa and the long-running schemes of Teda Kisaki finally collided head-on with Takemaki and Tomon. That arc was brutal, emotionally devastating, and closed with real losses and permanent consequences for the state of the series' world. Tokyo Revengers, War of the Three Titans arc picks up from where that third season ends. The trailer, what was revealed at Anime Japan 2026. The second official trailer was presented at Anime Japan 2026 and is significantly more complete than the first, released back in June 2025. It confirms October 2026 as the premiere window, no exact date yet, but the official production communication is clear about the month. Streaming will be on Disney+, which also exclusively distributed the Christmas Showdown and Tenjiku arcs worldwide, excluding China. The trailer opens with a moment that immediately redefines the tone of the series. Mikey, Manjiro Sano, the legendary leader of Tomon, the character the entire series has orbited, appears seeking out Takemaki. Not as an antagonist, not with arrogance. He appears needing help. This dynamic reversal immediately communicates what this season is going to be about. It is no longer about Takemaki trying to reach Mikey from a distance. The two are now in the same emotional space, and what Mikey needs is something only Takemaki can provide. The trailer also introduces the new factions, Brahmin and Rokuhara Tandai, and briefly presents Senju Kawaraji, the most anticipated new character of the entire arc. The closing image of the trailer, Takemaki's hands reaching for Mikey's, one of them visibly bloodied, accompanied by the line, "I'm not gonna let you die," serves as a mission statement for the entire season. The arc, what the era of Three Titans actually is. After the devastating conclusion of the Tenjiku arc, the world Takemaki finds in the future has changed completely, but in an unexpected way. He finally arrives in a future where Hinata is alive. The person he spent years trying to save is okay. That should be the end of the story. The objective was accomplished, but Mikey is not there. That is the hook that opens the arc. Takemaki has reached a perfect future that has everything he always wanted, but the person without whom he has never been able to feel at peace simply does not exist in that future. And so he does the only thing that defines who he is. He goes back one more time. The historical context of the arc, within the alternate timeline Takemaki navigates, is this. After the collapse and disbandment of the Tokyo Manji Gang, a power vacuum consumed the delinquent world of Tokyo. This period became known as the Sengoku era of gangs, a constant state of conflict between dozens of competing factions fighting for dominance. From that chaos, three figures and their respective organizations emerged as the dominant forces, each corresponding to one of the three titans that give the arc its name. The first is Manjiro Sano Mikey, leading the Kanto Manji Gang, an expanded and far darker successor to what Tomon once was. The Mikey of this future is a Mikey who has clearly lost something fundamental about himself. The oscillation between the Mikey we know, charismatic, powerful, fiercely loyal, and what he has become in this future is one of the most painful narrative threads of the entire arc. The second is Senju Kawaraji, leading Brahmin, a gang with the stated mission of becoming the strongest in Japan, but also, underneath that, with the goal of preventing both Rokuhara Tandai and Kanto Manji Gang from dominating everything. Senju is the youngest of three Akashi siblings. The oldest brother, Takeyomi Akashi, is a founding member of the first-generation Black Dragon, and now serves as Brahmin's vice leader. The second oldest is Haruchio Sanzu, former 5th Division vice captain of Tomon, and now a trusted member of Mikey's Kanto Manji Gang. The Akashi family is, in itself, a remarkable dramatic knot, three siblings on opposite sides of the same war. And the third is South Terano, leading Rokuhara Tandai. South is the antagonist the arc chooses to be the trigger for the larger chaos. A man who grew up in the favelas of Rio de Janeiro, raised by a surrogate father named Dino in an environment where violence was the currency of survival, and who literalized that to such an extent that he killed his own mentor at 12 years old to take control of his gang. South has razor-sharp strategic intelligence and a cruelty that goes beyond anything any previous Tokyo Revengers antagonist displayed. The way he relates to violence has an almost aesthetic quality. He references musical dynamics when he fights, as though every blow is a note in a score only he can hear. The conflict between these three forces, Brahmin, Rokuhara Tandai, and Kanto Manji Gang, is what leads to the central event of the arc, the Battle of Three Deities, which occurs on July 7, 2008, and results in 2 deaths. One of them is South Terano. The other is someone no viewer who has followed the series from the beginning is going to want to accept. The most anticipated character, Senju Kawaraji. There are new characters who arrive in animated sequels and immediately take over the entire conversation. Senju Kawaraji is clearly one of those characters. In the story, she functions as a mirror for Takemiki in a very specific way. She is someone who genuinely wants to protect the people around her, but who carries the weight of leading an organization where protection frequently demands confrontation. Her dynamic with Takemiki begins as pragmatism. She needs him and he needs allies, but evolves into something far more human and complicated than a simple strategic alliance. The casting of Maria Ise to voice Senju was met with enormous enthusiasm from the community. Maria Ise is widely known for voices like Killua Zoldyck in Hunter x Hunter, Nagato in Boruto, and numerous other emotionally complex characters. What makes her casting so fitting for Senju is that the character demands something very few voice actors can balance, being simultaneously threatening and vulnerable, fierce and tender. Senju can be on the verge of a high-stakes confrontation in one moment and be completely unguarded in the next, and that oscillation needs to be credible at both extremes. Maria Ise has precisely that capability. The staff, continuity, and change. One of the most significant elements in this season's announcement is the change in the director's chair. All 3 previous seasons were directed by Koichi Hatsumi, and Hatsumi left a real mark on the visual identity and emotional pacing of the series. For the final arc, the director's role passes to Maki Kodaira, known for his work on the 7 Deadly Sins, 4 Nights of the Apocalypse. Hatsumi does not disappear. He has been incorporated as a collaborator on series composition, which preserves his creative influence without requiring him to carry the full weight of the production. Series composition remains in the hands of Yasuyuki Muto, who has provided narrative consistency across the previous seasons. Character design, always one of the franchise's visual strengths, now features an expanded team. Kenichi Onuki and Keiko Oda return from previous seasons, joined by Eri Tsuyuki and Kei Takakura, who were animation directors in past seasons and have now been promoted to character designer roles. This internal promotion signals that the production trusts the visual vocabulary already established by the series. Composer Hiroaki Tsutsumi returns for the score, and that is simply excellent news. The Tokyo Revengers soundtrack, especially from Season 1, was one of the elements most responsible for the series' emotional impact. Tsutsumi has a particular ability to build tension with minimal elements and to execute transitions between silence and sonic weight that work far better than any expository dialogue ever could. The main voice cast returns entirely: Yuki Shin as Takemaki, Yu Hayashi as Mikey, Masaya Fukunashi as Draken, Azumi Waki as Hinata. Maintaining the core cast across 4 seasons is something many long-running franchises simply fail to do, and this production manages it with solidity. The newly confirmed additions are Naoyuki Shimazuru as Takeyomi Akashi, Shinosuke Tachibana as Wakasa Imaushi, and Takanori Hoshino as Keizo Erasure, the 3 founding members of the first-generation Black Dragon, who are central figures in Brahmin, and Hiroki Yasumoto as South Toronto. Yasumoto is a veteran voice actor whose voice carries immediate physical presence, and the choice of him for South, a man whose intimidation is simultaneously physical and psychological, is one of the most precise casting decisions this season made. In addition to the main series, it has also been confirmed that a mini-anime project titled Dowa Revengers Pucci is in development, suggesting the franchise is investing in supplemental material to accompany the final season. What to expect from this season? In terms of narrative scope, Season 4 is the most ambitious the series has ever attempted to adapt. It covers what manga readers call the final saga, which includes not only the Three Titans arc itself, but also the Banten arc, which takes place in a dystopian 2023 where Mikey leads an organized criminal empire called Banten, an organization so different from the original Tomon that the visual and emotional shock for anyone who has followed the series from the beginning is enormous. The structure of the season will require Takemaki to navigate a series of time leaps with stakes that have never been higher. The choices he needs to make here have no right answers. Every path saves someone and sacrifices someone else. And the arc does not spare anyone. Even figures the series built as unshakable will be placed in situations of real vulnerability. What makes all of this especially emotionally powerful is the heart of the arc. Takemaki trying to save Mikey from himself. Not from an external enemy. Not from a conspiracy. From a darkness that Mikey carries within him and that the series has been building across multiple seasons. That is the definitive confrontation of the entire franchise. Not a street fight, but a war for what remains of the humanity of someone Takemaki refuses to abandon. The Banten arc presents a Mikey who runs an adult organized crime operation with real power and real-world scale violence. This is not juvenile delinquency anymore. It is organized crime at a scale that turned Mikey into a villain of dimensions Tokyo Revengers had never explored before. And Takemaki needs to enter that world and somehow find the Mikey he knows buried inside all of it. For manga readers who already reached the ending, this season carries a special weight. It is the animated adaptation of the chapters they followed through 2021 and 2022, when Wakui delivered a conclusion that divided the community but that today, with some distance, many recognize as the only conclusion that made sense for what the series always was. For viewers who have followed only the anime, what is coming is genuinely unpredictable. Why this season matters. Tokyo Revengers started as a story about a loser trying to save his girlfriend. For seasons later, it is a story about what it means to love someone who is losing themselves, about refusing to accept a version of the world where the people you love must be sacrificed for others to survive, and about the extraordinary cost that sustaining that kind of stubbornness has for the person carrying it. With over 80 million copies in circulation and a global fan base that has followed each season with growing investment, War of the Three Titans arc is the final season of a franchise that deserves a conclusion equal to everything it built. With the premiere confirmed for October 2026 on Disney+, it is time to prepare your heart. Drop a comment telling us which arc hit you the hardest so far: Bloody Halloween, Christmas Showdown, Tenjiku, and whether you are ready for this final season. If this video helped you, a like means a lot to the channel. See you next time.